the background in a little bit of pink. I've already got my snowman traced on here. Like I said, he's white, so I thought I would save some time, base my board in white, and that would mean that my snowman is already based, which would take a while to cover. So I thought, what the heck, I'll just go ahead and do it quick. That will save us basing time. All right, let's get this guy going here. So we're just going to go around the outer edge for our background. And this is a lovely blush pink color. All right, so I'm just getting this, bear with me, bear with me. I got to get this background in place before we can start basing in our little snow, I'm going to call her a snow girl, because she's got lots of pink on here. All right, first coat is in, but I do need to add a little more because I can still see my white background back there. And we'll put another coat on there. I think I'm lagging a little bit. I apologize. I don't know why that's happening, but we'll try and push through that. All right, so let's get our little second coat on here, and then we'll get some burnt umber happening and dirty up this background a little bit, because you couldn't have a primitive painting without burnt umber. It's just a rule, unwritten rule. All right, sorry for all the flipping. Just easier for me to reach this without getting in the way of your view. All right, I think we are good. The second coat went on a lot quicker. And now we're good to get some of that brown in there. So while it's still wet, I'm going to grab a little bit of burnt umber and mix it into my pink. I'm just going to flick some of that onto my background a little bit. And if it gets too much, we'll just get a little bit of that pink in there and just kind of knock that down a bit. And then we can start playing around with our snow gal. So I'll add a little bit more of this to the background after a bit here. All right, I'm going to give that a quick dry, and then we'll start basing in the hat and scarf and all that stuff. All right, so I'm going to base in her scarf with the same color as the background. See how fast we can go here. All right, so I'm just using the same blush pink color. And really you can use any colors. I kind of wanted to go with like a Valentine theme, so pinks and reds, and it's kind of the palette I stayed close to for this painting. And with primitive paintings, I'm not really too concerned about perfection because it's kind of what primitive painting is all about. You kind of don't want it to look perfect, so you can kind of get a little loose with your lines and not feel too restricted, which is kind of one reason I like painting primitive stuff. It's kind of fun to do that. All right, we got one little spot left here. And also the little pom-pom down here, I'm going to base it with the same color. And then the hat, we are going to do a little bit of red on the hat band. So I'm going to base the hat band first of all with some gray, so my red covers better. We're just going to get that on there. Let's outline this and then fill it in with one of my bigger brushes. And then I decided to use some dragon fruit for the hat itself, which is kind of a really bright pink color. So this is the dragon fruit. So it's kind of a really bright pink. So we'll just line this in and we'll fill it in with a bigger brush. All of this base coating is like, I know, not the most exciting part of the painting, but we must do what we must do. Just want to get this first coat on here so we can give this a dry and get a second on there quickly. All right, so let's dry that fast. All right, let's get a bigger brush here. Stop messing around with that little one. I'll get this in here quicker. All right, let's get that red on the hat band. I kind of went outside the line, so I had to make that a little bit bigger. All right, drying again. Oh my goodness, I keep getting hung up. All righty. So I'll just add a little bit more of the blush pink to the scarf. Then we'll base out his nose and we'll start doing some shading with our burnt umber. And then we can start adding a few details, which is the fun part. Okay, so for the nose, I'm going to use a little bit of burnt orange. So with these primitive paintings, if you can draw, a basic snowman, you can draw one of your own. These aren't hard to do because, again, wonky is kind of the fun of primitive painting. So like you can just do like I did, just paint or just, draw a basic snowman and then just add all your little details. And normally what I do is, like, I've already painted one of these, so I know kind of where I'm going. But when I painted it, I just started adding elements to it freehand and just added my things. All right, let's get a little more on there that's a little faded out. Okay, so I'm going to start by shading around the outer edge of my whole snowman on the outside on my background. Just getting some water on my brush here. So I kind of want that background around my snowman to, kind of look a little bit rustic and grubby and all that stuff. So that's kind of where we're going with this. I'm just going to go all the way around the outer edge. And you don't have to be perfect. Just get it on there. We'll add a little bit of something to the ground here once we get some more things going on the snowman. We'll come back to that part. But I just want to get some of this burnt umber all the way around the outer edge of the outside. I'm going to spin a little bit. Sorry for the spinning. Don't want to make you dizzy. Just so I can reach around here. And then you can, widen that up a little bit and, bring that right on out there. You can kind of smudge it up a little bit further out, which is kind of the look we're going for. And I'll do the same thing here. We'll just, all right. So now we're going to add a little burnt umber to our snowman herself. And we're just going to start right here on her head. And we're just going to go right under, got a little dark there. I'll just add some water to my brush and smooth that out, I hope. All is well. All right. And we're just going to keep right on going around the scarf. And if it, doesn't cover well, you can always come back with a second coat. So don't worry about getting it covered on the first coat, because I'm not. You can see I kind of took some off of there. We'll come back in a second and fix that up. We're just going to keep right on going around our outer edge of our whole snowman down here. And as you can see, I'm not being particular. I'm just getting it on there. And we'll come around this scarf a little bit. Put her back up here. And I have a little bit around the hat here that I want to get. So we've kind of just dirtied up the whole thing all the way around, all of these little elements that we have on here so far. So it might not look like a whole lot right now, but we're going to get there. How are we for time? Okay, so I'm going to just fill in this little divot here that I missed. I'm going to go around the nose a little bit. And while I have this burnt umber out, I'm going to shade the bottom edge of the nose right as we are here. and get that part done. So the scarf I'm going to shade with a little bit of white. Let me get some white. I don't know if this one's open or not. Okay, so we're just going to, right on the left side of this little one here that's kind of flipped over, I'll put a little white highlight there. And along the bottom edge of the main part of the scarf. And along this left side here. And I'm going to add a little bit of white to my pom-pom. Now I'm going to grab some black and we'll work on this hat band up here. So we'll just come along that bottom edge. And this little back side here. I'm also going to shade some black, strangely enough, onto my main part of my hat. And I might even mix in a little bit of burnt umber on this as well. Let's grab a little bit of that. And we'll go along the top edge here of the hat band. All right, so now I'm going to add a little bit of, let's dry that fast. Let's dry that. I missed a little spot here of black on my hat. Down this back side here and down this side. All right, let's add a little design to our hat. I'm just going to add some stripes with some white. We'll just start up here. We'll put a couple stripes together all the way down. And then on the main hat, or the hat band, excuse me, I'm just going to shade a little bit of white on the top there. And then I'm going to just freehand a few little hearts onto the hat band. And how I do that is I kind of just do 2 little circles together and then just bring it down to a point. So that's how we're going to do that. So super simple, just 2 little circles and then bring it down to a point. Easiest way to do a heart, freehand. Okay. So it's starting to look a little Valentine-y now with some hearts on there. All right, we're going to put some stripes onto our main scarf here too. So I'm just going to use a little bit of white. And like I said, these are all kind of just freehand and loose. You don't have to be perfect about any of this. All good. And let me just dry that quick. Okay, so we're going to grab a little bit of white. I'll just add a few little highlight marks on that little pom-pom. And then I'm going to grab my shader again. I'm going to grab some burnt umber. And I'm just going to go along the bottom edge of that scarf. And then we're going to outline this with some black. So I'm just going to use my liner. I got to get crack-a-lack in here. I got 15 minutes. We don't even have eyes. We got nothing. All right, so we're going to go around the outside edge of this scarf here. Just with a wiggly line. Again, not trying to be perfect. Just want to get it on there. We'll go around the outer edge of our pom-pom. I'm also going to add a few little black stripes on here too. Just a little sort of small swipe on there. And then maybe a few little wrinkle marks here. Like so. And then we can add some fringes. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that pink. And some white. Maybe we'll mix in some white there too. All right, scarf is complete. And let me see where we're at. Okay, we got some fun stuff coming here. So I think I'll finish his face quick, and then I have some fun little hearts and stuff, and we hopefully can get those on here fast so you can see it. I'm just going to put a little bit of a dry brush of pink on the cheeks. So I'm just using that same blush pink. And I'm just rubbing that on there. And then I will use my little stylus. We're just going to add 2 little black dots for eyes. And then just a little kohl mouth. So whoops, let's get some black on there. And then we can add a little white dot on each cheek. While that's drying, I want to mix a little bit of my burnt orange with some white, and I'm just making a lighter orange color. And you can highlight that nose a little bit. I normally would shade this, but I have wet on there, so I don't want to smudge. We're just gonna get a little bit of a light orange highlight on there. And we'll dry. All right, I'm gonna bring this little line drawing over here because I have some arms to put on, some little stick arms. And he's holding a little love letter and a little bag with a heart on it. So let's just see if we can do this without smudging. Got something on there. See, it's still wet there. We're going to ignore that. Ignore that mess, people. All right, so we have his arms. We'll get that on here. A little bag down here. And if I don't get this completely done, I will show you what the completed one looks like. I do have one here already done. So if we don't get this totally finished, I will show you what it's supposed to look like when it's done. But I'm hoping to get it finished. All right, so let's grab some burnt umber and we'll get those arms in there. And these are just little sticks, so they don't have to be perfect either. No stick is perfect. Not worrying about that. And we have its other little arm over here. Well, this one goes over top of the letter, but we'll finish that bottom part of this arm when we get that letter based. So we're going to use a little bit of that blush pink for the letter. And this little bag down here is also based in that color. Used a lot of these little pink elements on here. And then the little hearts that are on his chest are with the Tuscan red. Get those on there. All right, let's give that a quick dry. All right. So we're going to shade this little bag here with some of that red. We're just going to come along this edge. Now we also want to shade all of that burnt umber around all of these little elements too when we're finished, if we get that far. I only have 6 minutes left, so we're getting down to the wire here. Also going to shade my little love letter here. We will highlight the top edge of this. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of that burnt umber. We want to get that shaded around the outer edge here. And again, nothing perfect. We just want to get that kind of dirtied up around the outer edge. And I'm also going to do the same thing kind of around the stick arms as well. I just want to get a little bit of that on there around our letter. We're down 4 minutes. 4 minutes, kids. All right. And then we have a little hanger that goes over our arm. And we can start adding some stitching. And these are all the little details that make it kind of fun. And I put a little stitching on my letter. Did outline it a little bit. And then I put a little white heart right there on top. Can you guys see that okay? Is it too far away? All right. And then we even went as far as to, I could trace this on with my tracer, but I'm going to try and do this freehand. I put a big old red heart here in the center of my, my little bag here. If my heart is wonky, it's because I freehanded it. So, you know, bear with me. I have 2 minutes. So soon I'm going to abandon this project and I'm going to show you the finished one. So you can kind of see all of the little elements that we put on. I don't think I'm going to get to completely finish all of these. Now I do want to put his other little, we're just going to keep going here for a few more seconds. I want to put his little stick hand on here. All right. Now I did add, okay, I'm going to show you this finished one. So this is what it looks like completed. I'm just going to move that out of the way. So I added XO and I added some stitching and things to the little hearts here, and then we put some stitching and put some the word love on the bag. So that's kind of where It is going. That's where it's headed. So you can kind of see we're almost there, but not quite. Not quite. So inside this little red heart, we put some buttermilk on top of there and added the words. So I did run out of time, my friends, but you did get to see what it looks like at the end. So make sure you go over and watch all of the other crafters tonight in the Craft Around the Clock group. And I hope you enjoyed watching me paint my little primitive Valentine snowman. Have a good night, everybody.